No, this isn't clickbait. This is sincere. We'll get to that in a moment. I imagine half of the people who saw and clicked on this video will, or at least want to, post a comment about how I'm an idiot without watching the video, while the other half will simply come to the conclusion that I'm an elitist despite watching and listening to the whole thing. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. Here we go. More appropriate. I'd give an introduction, but I should just make a channel trailer or something instead at this point. My credentials shouldn't speak for me, the strength of my arguments will. Skip to the timestamp if you want to skip the nerd stuff and just want examples. Anyway, let's start with difficulty. A thing that is hard to accomplish, deal with, or understand. Maybe you think difficulty is purely subjective. Some people can have the knack for one task over another, sure. But that doesn't magically wave away the, lack for a better word, mechanical aspect of input execution. You need a sense for timing, and finger agility and dexterity. You also need to develop muscle memory for what you're trying to achieve. Developing these things can take one person more time than another, and everyone has their limitations. I even showcase my own later on. However, there are averages, as well as a variety of inputs and input series we can look at to get a perspective on the topic. Let's keep it simple. The first motions people learn in fighting games are quarter circles and dragon punch, or zigzag motions. People might have difficulty timing the latter or doing the input fast on reaction, but I feel it's safe to say that the vast majority of the casual players can do these, or at least have the most consistency with them out of everything else. I'm also confident that almost everyone can tap forward fast enough on the analog stick or D-pad for the game to register it for a dash. That's practically all we have to talk about here with Naoto. The main trick is shorthanding some of the inputs, but even if you don't do that, I wouldn't say Naoto's combos in general are notably more demanding because of it. Well, it's example time. Joy. Let's start with jabs. 5A. Naoto cannot combo into Banishing Fang launch on a standing opponent after a jab, unless he goes straight into it from the 5A. Although, as we see, doing this only increases damage by 52, and has notably weaker corner carry at the exchange of the ability to tech chase close up. Quick stop, sorry. I should go over the value of a combo since it isn't just the damage value, but meter gain, resources spent, positioning, and advantage. The value of a combo that switches which side you are on afterward is high when your back is to the wall at the start of it, but very low if you have the opponent cornered or are mid-screen. Typically enhanced to Drive Inferno with a delayed knockdown follow-up is Naoto's favored ender, but realistically Kaid, Air Super, 5D or 2D, 60 followed by a dash cancel, and enhanced Kaid at close range after a dash cancelled 5D or 2D can all work to at least decent degrees, while also not sacrificing a ton of damage to end combos with. Anyway, please keep these things in mind for future examples. Back to it. It's time! Someone's been waiting for this. The infamous 3C Sway dash cancel C Inferno. Featured at the end is my creative recreation of the optimal route, Sleep Deprived Edition. Technically, this isn't the most demanding series of inputs, and it sure isn't the most difficult thing Naoto has to time, but these motions probably pop into someone's head paired with the words Naoto and difficult. Let's look at the motion. You have a quarter circle backwards, and then a double tap forward, and then you motion down and down forward, which should be very fast from the double tap. At the heart of this input series, buffering does most of the work. This surely has to have upset someone out there, but I don't think this is more than middling difficult. A 5 out of 10, maybe. First, the motion isn't complex or unnatural to do quickly. It's different to have to do something fast for the majority of Blazblue players, but isn't so fast that the average fighting game player couldn't manage to get someone consistent with this. Now, this isn't to say that I think everyone should deal with it and work on the combo. You should just avoid it completely because it's a waste of time and effort. As with the demonstrations, you can see that the damage doesn't compete until you nail the C Inferno as early as possible, allowing for a 2C follow-up after the whiffed knockdown kick. This is about a 2-frame window from just eyeing it. The complete version of this does about 3,000 damage in side swaps, so the real value of this is only if you are the one in or close to the corner. A damage increase of 2 to 400 off of a jab isn't worth it otherwise. Here are some damage comparisons. Second, throws are almost as fast as standing jabs. If you can pull off a combo like that, then you could probably instant block and get a throw punish instead unless the opponent is too far away or something. If the opponent goes for a throw crush, then the jab would probably hit the opponent while the opponent is airborne, not grounded. Last, if your reaction times are sharp, then you might be able to get a micro dash in before the 5A, allowing you to go into Enhanced Banishing Fang for an easier combo with higher damage, or into Enhanced Kite to sideswap right away instead of traveling half the screen just to head back into the corner. Here are some examples of such, erroneously recorded with a 5B starter just to show the concept. These combos still work with 5A as the starter. A micro dash only adds as much effective startup to the attack as you are late with the button press. A clean enough dash should only add up to 3 frames. In summary, 3C sway is too niche of a use for too little of an increase in reward. This isn't necessary to play Naoto effectively, it's optimization. Optimization is not necessary to be able to compete viably against other players of similar skill or even players of somewhat higher skill level. Next, shown twice, we have a generous combo route into and out of sweep in the corner that doesn't require anything fancy to do. You can shorten this as needed based on your starter, and still net appreciable damage from it. Also shown are combos off of 2B with damage comparisons for various additions of low-moderate difficulty to the route, as well as options for meter usage. Notice how the rapid cancel combo deals roughly the same damage for none of the effort of the other combos. Expect some extra but still relevant fodder clips if you care about having a fuller idea of Naoto's damage and routes from mid-screen hits and other neutral or punish hits. First of note is Enhanced Kite from 2D when against the corner. Buffering again does most of the work here. It's about 5 frames from what I remember, and the damage increase from its inclusion is around the 100 or so range, if it's even available due to it working in only a few routes. The input is a quarter circle back, double tap forward, then do another quarter circle back. You can do a half circle instead at the end if it's more comfortable. If you drop it, you can react to the restand crumple and continue the combo off of that, or chase the opponent's recovery. Second is 6D into sway dash cancel, then into enhanced sway and phantom pain. The damage difference is usually within 100 or so if Banishing Fang hasn't been used yet. Sometimes it does add a few hundred to the overall damage for a few combos, but if you have the resources you can skip this entirely. For execution, again with buffering, the input is a quarter circle back, double tap forward, then another quarter circle back. The input reading is so generous that you can make a half circle from down to up for the second sway input and get phantom pain right away without really needing to time it. I get lazy and mash it for the last part while making sure the starting input isn't super messy and I basically don't drop this. Third is Micro Dash 5C after Phantom Pain to get Enhanced Inferno. Most of my testing shown a damage increase of under 100. The window isn't tight, but it isn't generous. The input isn't complicated, and the damage increase can be safely ignored. Fourth is Micro Dash 2C into Enhanced Sway and Phantom Pain after Dashing Sweep into Enhanced Cade. This mainly serves the same purpose as 3C Sway. Aside from the side swap, it isn't, to my knowledge, used for damage purposes. Hitting straight down might be awkward to avoid doing sweep instead, and going down and back might take an extra frame or two's worth of time to do so. This is honestly just more awkward than difficult. As far as health and damage is concerned, I think the average health in Blazblue is around 11,000. If you want to win in 3 combos, then the damage of those combos need to be some distribution of the 11,000. For instance, if you just divide that by 3, then your combos need to deal at least 3,667 damage each. If you take the 667 from one combo and distribute that to the other 2, then you have one combo with 3,000 needed damage and 2 combos that need to be 4,000 damage each. Realistically, you should account for up to even 3,000 total damage possibly being from stray hits or small confirmed and neutral that lead to mix-up scenarios where the real damage lives. Luckily, Naoto can net at least 4,000 damage off of choice hits without active flow's bonus damage. The reason I bring all of this up is because the main purpose of damage optimization is to minimize the number of mistakes the opponent is allowed to make, as in the number of times you combo them before they lose. Naoto's optimal and suboptimal combo routes can indeed look like huge differences if you compare the highest damage he can net against baby combos, but that's basically a straw man. As a quick aside, someone expressed the concern to me that they don't want to be doing literal thousands damage less than everyone else they're playing against. I mean, if you're fighting Azrael or whatever. Do any of these combos look low damage? Naoto has guaranteed strong corner carry off of any hit and doesn't care about how close he is when he's landing those hits, let alone requiring a specific hit to deal more than 3,000 damage. When compared to other characters, Naoto's choice hits are extremely rewarding, as in at least 5,000 damage, or almost half of someone's health, without having to commit resources to that combo. Naoto's punish combos are effectively lethal when you consider how much damage you would have dealt on average by the time you have 50 heat. If the opponent dumpstered you and you find a hit while low on HP, then Naoto's ridiculous low after overdrive combo damage should place you on even footing, assuming you don't just delete their health bar. Speaking of Naoto's overdrive, part of its design is to allow beginners to feel the wind from dash cancel combo tech while taking out any of the effort needed to execute it. Overdrive allows drive attacks to be dash cancelled on hit, where normally you have to wait 9 frames for sway and 10 frames for drive attacks before you can cancel them with dashes. There should be a clip in here somewhere showcasing Naoto being able to comfortably dash about 2 to 3 character widths before using Inferno and the combo still counting as valid. Aside from that, Overdrive also allows Naoto to cash out from any 2D hit. The input is charging 2D, and then 5D, and then you double tap forward, and then you 2D and 5D and forward twice. Sorry, I was falling asleep. I showed a dashing super off of 6D, but you don't lose a whole lot of damage for missing one drive hit at the end of Naoto's max duration overdrive combos just to get a close connect super. Anyway, the takeaway here is that there are plenty of other alternative things that Naoto can do off of his common hits for less effort than the supposed difficult additions to optimize damage. 5C into a dash cancelled 5D, then into Inferno is both a staple and not that different from just doing a Dragon Punch motion mid-combo. All that's added is tapping forward once before letting go to do the next motion. Timing in general can take a while to find, but having to spend time to develop muscle memory for inputs is just part of the genre, even for games like Fantasy Strike and Lethal League. More importantly, you should work on Naoto's pressure, mix-up, and recovery chase timings, on top of your neutral game, of course. Being able to touch of death someone on a reversal read doesn't mean you know how to pressure someone into wanting to use said reversal, or even how to get a feel for when the opponent will reversal. There will be clips showcasing these things, although I already went over neutral hits and combos off of 2B earlier. Enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to hear more of my bad takes soon. If anyone wants to try to change my mind, they're more than welcome to post in the comments. Oh, and if you know any Naoto players and you want to make them insecure, you can send this to them as well.